The Godfather by Coppola is almost always listed among the top five greatest films of all the time. For this first tribute on my series of favorite movies, I decided to start with this one. But why? Why has The Godfather had such a massive impact? And why is it still sitting on that pedestal after all these years? Let's try to answer that while you watch this painting come to life in this time lapse. Hey guys, welcome to my channel, Seto Studio. This is a space where I share my painting and drawing process, my favorite techniques, while also reflecting a bit of on the work I'm creating. Today is the first video in a series of attributes to the films that have marked me the most. My personal top 10 of all the time, with no ranking, they are all equally important. And we are starting today with the classic one, The Godfather, directed by Francis Ford Coppola, produced in 1971 and released in 1972. So I hope you enjoy this commented time lapse, and let's go into it. To start, I want to say that I see The Godfather more as a single work, a unity between the part 1 and part 2. You can really feel the difference there because the part 3, I haven't even watched it completely. Even today, it's presented as a Godfather coda, the death of Michael Corleone, and it feels more like first continuation. It no longer feels like Coppola at his creative peak, but more like someone solving something under pressure. And by the way, if you haven't seen the original Godfather Part 1, you should honestly pause this video right now and go watch it. Seriously, it's essential film culture. Going back to the first two films, I remember watching them for the first time in the 80s in Bogota, in Colombia, the country where I was born when I was a kid. It was a TV version that combined both movies in something like a miniseries. It was strange. Back then, I didn't understand anything about cinematography, politics, or storytelling. I just remember the action scenes, the murders, the blood, which felt incredibly real at that time, especially the ending of part one. That incredible sequence where the head of the families are being killed while Michael is at his nephew's baptism, and of course the music, which kept repeating like a ritual at the beginning of those miniseries. And for this time lapse, I choose a very different scene, a specific scene. Sorry, is the Vito Corleone's office. That place where he receives people and grants favors, favors that he later collects. A very interesting concept, by the way. There were other possible scenes. The assassination of Don Fanucci that create a very cool and lovely scene, a sequence, or the bathtub scene of Frank Pintagelli, almost Barrockington. But this is from the part two, the Godfather part two. But I decided to start with the most iconic image, the sense of the Godfather figure. Maybe in a second piece, I will explore those other moments. One of the most impressive things about The Godfather 1 and 2 is that every time I watch them again, I become more fascinated by something very specific, how pictorial they are. Every scene feels carefully composed, almost like a painting by a master. And that comes from the incredible work of Gordon Willis and Tavoularis, creating images that, to me, are some of the most powerful in the entire film. This one in particular, the one I'm painting, comes from the opening scene where the whole structure of the mafia is established. Amerigo Bonasera asking Don Vito Corleone for revenge. You have that iconic gesture to kiss of the ring. And in the background, almost observing everything, Santino Corleone, impulsive, already seeing himself as the natural successor. Everything is perfectly placed, like a theatrical composition. The chiaroscuro, the sepia tones, it always brings me back to something very Rembrandt's like. Why the Godfather is so important? But why is the Godfather very, very important? Did it really change cinema? Since it's constantly ranked among the greatest film ever made. Let's break down some reasons. Reason number one, it elevated cinema genre to serious art. Before this, mafia films were mostly entertainment, a bit of pulp, even cheap. With Coppola, something changed. The mafia becomes classical tragedy, almost like Shakespeare in New York. Family, power, betrayal, destiny. The villain becomes the protagonist. With Michael Corleone, something very important happens. You are not watching a hero, you are watching his corruption. And the most powerful part is you understand him, you empathize with him, you even justify him. This opened the door to modern anti heroes. Third reason, a completely new visual language. Gordon Willis changed the rule. Deep shadows, partially hidden face, low lighting, almost painterly. Hollywood used it to the bright. Here it becomes dark, intimate, real. For a reason, slow but hypnotic storytelling. Today, we are used to it, but back then, it was very different. Long scenes, silence, slow pacing. The film doesn't push you, it pulls you in. Power as a system. This is not an action movie. It's about decisions, consequences, structures of power. The Batim's scene says it all: religion, crime, morality, strategy. Sixth reason, massive cultural impact. After The Godfather, everything changed. The way mafia is portrayed, acting style, storytelling, it all evolved from here. And some trivia, some quick facts. The horse head was real. You remember that horse at the first movie? That's another iconic scene. Marlon Brando created the voice himself. Yeah, Vito Corleone has a very specific voice for this movie. If you remember that, Al Pacino was almost rejected for the first movie, so now he became like very iconic and did three movies. Coppola was close to being fired as well. The lighting was initially criticized, but now is one of the most iconic uh, parts of the movie, and it won three Oscars. And I have another personal reflection here. Over the years, I've come back to this film many times. The first time I was even in black and white because we still had a black and white TV at home in the 80s. One of the TV was black and white. It was for the children, so that was our TV for the night. So and that first time I watched it in black and white, which is funny because the use of color and lighting is one of the film's greatest strengths. That kind of shows how the time passes. But anyway, each time I watched is things started making more sense. And later on, I even started connecting it into our own history, to Colombian mafia structures, hierarchy, family, power. The whole imagery was already there. That brings me to Hacienda Nápoles, which today is a theme park, but in the 80s was a symbol of power. I actually visited with my parents back then. I remember the zoo, animals coming close to the car, and the famous airplane at the entrance. We don't really know if Escobar was directly inspired by the Godfather, but we do know that when we built his empire, the world already understood criminal power through that film. More recently, I had another kind of encounter with the film. I visited the Academy Museum of Motion Pictures in Los Angeles. There's an entire section dedicated to The Godfather: costumes, production materials, even a recreation of Vito's office. And that's when I really hits out. This is no longer just a movie, it's a cultural history. This film has appeared and reappeared in my life, each time from a different perspective: artistical, political, cultural. And that's what makes it so beautiful, so powerful. All right, guys, thank you so much for watching this video. Don't forget to subscribe for the next tributes and follow me on Instagram. Link, the link is in my description. And here is the finished painting. So this is oil on paper, so you can appreciate the size of the painting. So if you're interested in getting this original piece of art, feel free to reach me out via Instagram or my website that I put in my description below. So thank you again and see you on the next movie video. Thank you. Bye bye.